morning, good afternoon, guys. We're back for another Geek Tavern. As always, it's me, Sean. I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron.
Ahoy.
And we're just going to dive right into our recommendation from me this time. It was Galaxy Quest, starring Tim Allen.
Oh, I watched First Contact again.
Oh, no.
Damn it! This happens every time.
That's on sale on Voodoo.
This happens every single time.
So basically, the synopsis of this movie, excuse me, is it's a Star Trek-esque show, and it's following the actors a period of time after the show's conclusion, and
where they currently do what all current Star Trek actors do at conventions.
Yeah, they're like making fun of them, like that's what it's become.
Yeah, that's literally William Shatner is going to be in Pittsburgh 2 weeks from now doing the same exact shit.
Yeah.
Tim Allen is estranged from the rest of his former cast because he was the one that was so successful. And it turns out that
William Shatner.
Yes, it turns out that a group of aliens got the recordings of Galaxy Quest, this old show, and basically formed their entire culture around it, thinking that it was historical texts.
Not even just the Galaxy Quest show.
Yeah.
Like every show.
Yeah.
They think there's a joke about them thinking Gilligan Island.
Oh, yeah. So like, those poor people.
But they base their entire culture around Galaxy Quest, and they seek out Tim Allen's help because they are being attacked under siege by another alien species, and they need the commander's help to survive. So they beam him up to the spaceship, and then he convinces everybody else to come and save. I don't even remember what their names are.
No. Honest to God, I do not know. I and this is so weird because I love this movie. I can't remember anybody's name except for Sigourney Weaver's actress's name is Gwen. Mm-hmm. I know that, and I remember Saris.
Yeah, Saris. I remember
That's
that
it.
too.
That's all I remember.
Yeah. I don't even remember Tim Allen's name.
And Sam Rockwell's character was Guy.
Yeah,
Guy Fleegman.
Guy Fleegman.
That's all I remember. Like, and I love this movie, but that's all I can call to mind.
I don't know if I said it when you recommended it last episode. I've never seen this movie.
Oh, you're better off for it.
I don't know. I actually liked it.
Yeah. No, yeah.
No, I thought you meant I was better off.
No, you're better off for seeing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, let's not beat around the bush. It's straight up Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Pretty much the writers were like, oh, we can't get those rights, so...
Let's make a parody.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting idea. Like, in Futurama's done the same thing where it's like, centuries old, shows, other planets get them and they, want to base their life around it. But
so there's actually a Star Trek episode about this.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, except it takes place in the 40s, and it's the original series. And they go to a planet that is their entire culture. Culture is like 1930s mafia.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. So this concept has been done.
Yeah.
But this is just like if they took Star Trek and did it.
Yeah.
Based their entire
futurist. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And it's funny because we see what the creatures actually look like. They're like squid monsters.
Yeah. At the whenever all the rest of the actors beam aboard the ship.
They actually they're very reminiscent of Daleks from Doctor Who.
I thought is the can not?
It's an outer shell.
Okay, so it's like armor.
So
I didn't even know that.
They are like squid. They look pretty much.
They had to build the armor because of their frail, fleshy bodies.
Yeah.
Dwight Schrute is one of the aliens.
He is.
And the guy from Deadpool.
That's another thing. This cast is pretty stacked with Tim Allen, Sigourney
Tony
Weaver.
Shalhoub.
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub, Alan Rickman, Justin Long.
Yeah, that's right. Justin Long is the kid.
And why can't I think of his name? You just said it, Guy Fleegman.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell. I couldn't think of his name.
Your favorite
He's
actor.
one of my favorite actors. But it's an incredibly stacked cast.
It is.
And all the characters work. The one exception is that Tony Shalhoub's character is really strange.
He's strange, but I like how strange his character is because like there are like points where they like walk out of something and they're like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Heh."
Yeah, he's like acting like totally nonchalant.
Is that Jeeves? Is that
but he was the engineer. He was playing Scotty.
oh.
Or he'd like come on the screen.
The
he's
guy
like,
that plays Jeeves in Men in Black?
Yeah. He'd like come on the screen and be like, they're saying that we need another beryllium sphere, and they're like, well, do we have another? And he's like, do we have another? Like he's just like completely like,
yeah. Like,
do we?
whenever
okay,
all of the other actors get beamed aboard the ship, he's like everybody else is like, what just happened? And he's just like, oh, that was wild.
Yeah.
It's like, what the
Thanks
fuck?
for the ride.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that what they do with his character, like that, you kind of have to have that disposition for like how they pay his character off with him becoming romantically involved with one of the aliens. But that's just like he has his moment of like confliction whenever he doesn't want to kill the commander with the teleportation device because they teleport that pig and it fucking
inside
just
out.
like comes inside out. They're like, oh, we can't teleport him or else I'll kill him.
Yeah.
But he overcomes his fear. And
also something else that happened in Star Trek, the motion picture, when two people get beamed aboard the Enterprise and then something goes wrong with the transporter room and they fuse together and get beamed back, and then they're like, did you receive them? And they're like, whatever it was didn't live long. And I was like, oh my god,
wow,
that's
terrifying.
Like that would be in one of the newer Star Trek movies.
But I was like, when I watched Star Trek: The Motion Picture, I was like, that's horrific. I was like, what the hell?
Did Cronenberg's Fly come out before or after that?
After late '80s is when Cronenberg's Fly, because
I mean,
Star Trek
it's a
was
simple
79.
It's a simple like idea. Like teleportation. If two people are going to teleport to the same instance, they're going to like show up inside of each other.
And that had to happen in the story because then Spock became the science officer, because these two people were science officers who were beaming aboard, and then they got fused and then died. So they're like, well, Spock has to come along now. And I'm like, that's kind of a fucked up way to bring Spock
Is the motion
back.
picture a prequel to the show?
No, after. This is like after they've finished their mission with the first Enterprise, and now they have the Enterprise refit that they get called to action on.
I own all 10 of them.
Yeah, which they do is another thing that they do at the end of this movie is where they have the refit of the what's the ship called?
I don't remember.
I want to say like Voyager, but it's not Voyager. I know it's not Voyager.
It's something like that.
It's an Explorer or something like that. It's some.
I don't remember.
Why do we all like this movie and can't remember a goddamn thing about it?
Thinking about it now, it's a little forgettable. I mean, like, not the film entirely. Just
no,
like
there's a lot of information.
Well,
like,
there's a lot to take
trying to take it in.
Yeah, I've only ever seen this movie like 2 or 3 times, so.
Me too. But like, usually my memory is pretty good with like remembering details about it.
I've only seen it once. And that was today.
You watched it today. Well, you would have the best chance of recollecting.
You know my ability to remember shit.
What's Tim Allen? What's the commander's name? Taggart. Taggart's his last name.
Yeah. Taggart.
Yeah. I couldn't tell. Like, his name is like James Tiberius Kirk, because when they introduce him, they introduce him as blank Taggart. Can I remember his name? No, of course not.
And then the Geordi LaForge character is also like a one name type of thing.
Oh yeah.
I really like Alan Rickman's character, where he is just like, I used to do Shakespeare on Broadway, and now I'm reduced to the Spock clone, basically.
My grandpa's hammer.
It's like, do not.
What a savings.
Yeah, what a savings. Like, whenever the one
his name's like Moktev or something like that, is Alan Rickman's character. Like that, I can remember that because he's like Spock. He's like Spock mixed with Worf.
Yeah, he's very much just like the alien race character. But whenever the one alien is like, I adopted your culture's way of life, so I follow that. And he's like, my grandpa Sammy's like, don't do that. I'm serious. Please stop right now.
So they don't have like the TV show character names, just their
actor
names.
Okay.
Tim Allen is Jason Nesmith.
Jason Nesmith. Yeah. Okay, I remember that now.
Yeah. Alan Rickman is Alexander Dane.
Yep.
I wish it had their character names.
Their character names. Yeah.
You could probably find their character.
I'm sure I could.
Wikipedia or something.
It's
But anyway, yeah.
Another great scene is whenever they're like first on board and they're like still recovering from being in space, and they have like the replicator basically that just like creates their favorite food.
Oh, yeah.
And like Commander Tiger
Based on the show.
Yeah,
Based on it.
Commander Tiger's like eating like a
Steak,
like
yeah.
a ribeye
Iowa
steak.
fed steak,
And,
which is also another Star Trek reference.
And they're like, "Oh, how are you liking your blood leeches from your home planet?" And it's like,
They're
just like-
alive and everything.
Yeah.
just like,
And Alexander's like,
You think he could be like, hey, I'll have what he's having.
Yeah. Well, that's another. Like, these aliens are like so naive. It's strange that Saris like knows what is happening. Where he's like whenever they show them that they're actors and they're like making it all up, that he has an understanding of what that means because he's an alien too.
Yeah.
So it's weird that he kind of knows like that they're lying, and then he basically is like he's torturing the one, and he's like, tell him the truth, and it's like we lied. It's like, well, how would he know that? You know, that was just one thing that was a little strange to me.
well, they did show Saris the videos.
Yeah,
And,
but
like, he
why
knew-
would he know that? Because he's an alien too.
Yeah, and
So, like-
you would think that, like, I mean, Jesus,
'Cause it's the
this
historical-
one culture built
Yeah.
this whole world based upon a TV show. Makes you think, how the hell did they figure out like warp capabilities in the ship and like stuff like that? It's like from a TV show, we can't even do that, and we have like 6,000 TV
Yeah,
shows.
that's true.
for that.
They do actually like still have like flying like ships and transportation, like this beryllium spear.
Yeah,
Like they're powering things with it. Like what's to say that like if that was even real, if we had a beryllium spear, we wouldn't be able to power anything with it.
No.
So like how they're like,
That's
oh,
the
it's just
technology
from the
in
show,
itself.
so we made it exist.
yeah. But then there's like mines that have beryllium spheres there, and it's like, does it just exist? And then they're just like, okay, well, I guess that works somehow. We have to figure out how that works.
Clearly, it works because the historical texts say it works.
But goddamn it, how long was it? Like 20 years in between, like when the show ended and now? It's like in 20 years, your people built stuff that would just completely boggle any other race or species. Just like what?
I think what it was trying to say was that whoever created the show somehow knew of like all this stuff.
Gene Roddenberry.
Like
Pretty crazy.
Because that's how a lot of creative things are. Like, I don't know. That's probably way too deep in this.
Very, very
Not a rabbit hole we need to go down, but like, you know, I think like sometimes creative dreams are brought out of the ether. I don't know how to put it, but like
It's like Tony Stark's dad making the design for synthesizing vibranium by using the court layout of the World Expo, somehow knowing that Tony would need that. I don't.
That's one of my favorite scenes of that.
No. It's great, but it's like, how the hell did he know he was gonna need vibranium at some point, or to synthesize vibranium? And then he doesn't even need it.
He was
because Wakanda has a shit ton.
Yeah, well, he was estranged from his son, so he was just like, he knew that he was brilliant too. So he's just like, I'm just gonna like put it in there, and I know we'll find it. So, because it was clearly like a failing of Howard. He couldn't synthesize it because of the limitations of technology at the time. And he's like, my son is going to have access to that. So if I leave a bread trail there, he'll be able to do it. It's more of like, in my opinion, it's more of just like the discovery of it, not necessarily a need for it, but that's an entirely different discussion of an entirely different movie.
Well, thanks for coming and watching our recommendation of Iron Man 2.
It's not as bad as everybody thinks. Don't let people fool you.
I don't like Mickey Rourke.
Anyway, Galaxy Quest.
Hey, I know how we can play it back because Sam Rockwell was in
Sam
that
Rock.
movie.
Yeah, never mind. That wasn't even a tangent. We were just talking about Sam Rock.
His character is hilarious because he was an extra character actor in the original show, and he died. He like fell in a lava pit or something.
Yeah.
So whenever they go to space and they're going on their interplanetary mission, he's like freaking out. He's like, oh my god, I thought that maybe I was going to be the one that you kept on the ship that died, but now I'm starting to think that maybe I'm the one that comes onto the planet and then dies to show the stakes. It's like, this isn't a TV show, guy. It's okay. And it's like, what we say, it's like, this is just like episode 85. And he's like, episode 85? That's the episode I died! And he's like having like a freaking panic attack thinking that he's gonna die on an alien planet.
Yeah.
But it's, because he's also crucial to that mission being successful, because he is like a super fan of the show while also being an actor on it. He's like those creatures look cute now, but we're gonna turn around and then they're gonna be like bloodthirsty monsters, and he's like spot on with that assessment. So I think that that's a great character too. Just like,
part of me wants to think that Guy's character, like in the show, is a reference to a next gen happening. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with Next Generation.
Not very.
So Denise Crosby's character gets killed in like the first season. And she's a crew member. She's like there through the entire season and everything. And they kill her off by some like muck monster. They like find it and it like hits her and then she just fucking dies. But then she comes back, not her. She plays another character who's related to her, like it's her half sister or something, who's part Romulan, who
so
like
weird.
comes back as a villain, and I was like, what?
That's so weird.
I mean, it is. It's weird. It's weird as hell. But I was like, what's going on here? Like, I got to like season 5, and she showed up again, and I was like, what? Like, it became so obscure. I had to like look it up. And it was like, why the hell did they? Why did they kill her off in the first season? Second, like
for the stakes. To show that the main character was gonna die.
I guess,
Yeah.
but like, and even like at the end of the episode, I was like, still just completely, this episode's like 20 years old now. It's almost 30 years old. And I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, what? Like, because they have her funeral and everything. And I'm just waiting for them to be like, oh, she's fine. We figured out some way to like bring her back. And I'm like, what the hell?
Triple blood.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell? I was like, she just died. But it kind of like reminded me of Sleeman a little bit because he was like in the show, died, and then they resurrected him and bring him back like as somebody else.
Whenever they have the sequel show, which is kind of funny because that's things that are happening now.
Yeah.
Like
Picard.
10, 25 years ago, there were these shows that are now like considered classics, and just because of the way that media culture is now, we're rebooting and like redoing everything.
Literally everything.
Like literally yesterday, iCarly trailer dropped.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, iCarly ended, and we're having another iCarly show for whatever reason. It's like the exact same.
I'm gonna watch it.
No. Why?
Oh yeah.
Without
Jeanette McCurdy.
Yeah. Whatever.
What? For what reason? What? Oh, because Friends did a reunion? They're like, hey, do you remember the beloved?
Oh no, this isn't a
iCarly?
reunion. This is a full-on
It's
show.
a straight up show.
Oh, well, that's because nobody's working from that show.
That's true.
When was the last time you saw Miranda Cosgrove in something?
What's his name? The guy that plays her older brother. He's
Jerry
the-
Trainer, yeah.
He's the voice of like he's a
No.
voice actor now.
Jerry is successful.
Yeah.
Jerry Trainer, we knew he was going to be a success when he played Crazy Steve.
Crazy.
during the time. But like you just knew that dude was going to go to do stuff. But like everyone else just has not done anything.
He's coming back. He's on the new version.
I feel like
the hell's the matter with
Miranda
you?
Cosgrove
Quit making these
doesn't need to
reboots.
act. I feel like she got all of her money from the original iteration of iCarly.
And Drake and Josh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't need to work.
She got Nickelodeon money and probably settlement money from Dan Schneider. That's a discussion that we can table for later, though.
But yeah, so the resurrection of the show, they recast him as the security officer.
Yeah,
which is funny because while they're on the planet, Guy's having this meltdown. He's like, "Oh, I'm the character that's supposed to be sacrificed," and Tony Shalhoub's like, "Maybe you're not the sacrifice. Maybe you're the plucky comic relief."
Plucky? Yeah. It's like,
he's like just trying to like soothe him.
Yeah. Maybe the plucky comic relief.
Plucky.
I like it's pretty well tightly written too, with Justin Long being like a super fan of the show, and then running into
a very technical super fan.
Where he's like a total nerd at a con that would like walk up, which is like, I don't know why they would think that it's the equivalent of somebody walking up to William Shatner and being like, "So the Enterprise is structured like this. I was just wondering, like a technical question." It's like, why are you asking the main actor? Like,
why are you asking the actor?
Yeah, you'd want to ask like a writer, or
concept artist, or a writer, or something like somebody who had some kind of engineering mindset when they were designing
we're
it.
poking fun at that, but I'm sure that happened.
I guarantee you it.
No, it's just happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he is like asking like technical questions about the ship, and then this is whenever he's like having his break because he overhears all of his co-stars basically shitting on him.
Yeah.
So he's like, "It's not real!" And he runs off, and they run into each other, and they swap communicators.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the film, they need his help because they have to go stop the ship from blowing up underneath the Omega-13. And he's just like, "You gotta give me the specs of the ship. It's all real." And he's like, "Oh my god, I knew it was real." It's just like so damaging to me. Where they're like, "Oh, he literally told this kid that this is all real." I mean, it technically is all real, but like
in that world, yeah.
I don't know, just being like, it's real. It's like telling a fucking teenager that Santa's real. And then being like, "Yes, I knew it."
He is. His name's Jeff Bezos.
But I really like that aspect because it like it's like, oh, there's no need for that character, but they brought him back.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're like, yeah, and I said this upon watching it 2 weeks ago that I was like, this is tightly written. Mm-hmm. It was like everything in this movie is very tightly written.
I thought the swapping of the communicator was going to be like a bigger problem, not so much a solution, but like a problem. Like,
yeah, and it leads you to think that way, which is cool because you're like, oh, that's going to be that. And then it comes back and it's like, oh, it's not. Like, that actually is the reason.
Yeah, because I thought he was going to try to communicate with the aliens and he was just going to look like an absolute idiot. Like, which he does for a minute, but then the aliens show back up and then it's fine. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was going to be a problem.
Too. Whenever he shows up drunk thinking, like, he thinks it's like some job or like a favor to these like cosplayers or whatever. Yeah. He's like, fire all missiles, and then they're like, and then they do like fucking blow up Saris's ship.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I got him for you," and they're like, "Thank you, Commander, you saved our lives." And then he like gets shot back to Earth.
And then even they're hesitant because they're like, "Are you sure that Saris will not exact his revenge?" And he's like, "Oh no, I gave him both barrels."
And then Sarah shows back up with an eye patch and like a sling on his arm or something, which I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Which is like, that is a fucking scary creature too,
and like it's all practical too.
Oh yeah,
and it still looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I think is missing from sci-fi Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean,
practical
nowadays
effects are
peak.
Yeah.
They started to bring it back around 2015 with Star Wars.
Well, yes,
because I think there was an outcry.
Because it would look completely weird if Star Wars didn't do it.
Like people, well, even then, at times they still lean into the CGI.
I mean, they do
too much. But at that point, it was like after the first Star Trek and like other sci-fi movies, and everyone's like, just bring back more practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure that Saris would have looked intimidating as a giant CGI monster, but him just being like a giant in a suit with like fucking crab claws, like that's scary, man.
Like he obviously this is apples and oranges, but like I was thinking of like Goro in the first combat. Like that's where my brain went.
That's
like
exactly what I was thinking of.
But like I can't remember his name already.
Saris.
He looks obviously way better.
Yeah.
But like that's what it reminded me of.
I love the use of the Omega-13 because, like even the people that created it, they're like, we don't know what it does, and they like ask him. They're like that's the entire point of Saris attacking these ships because they're like, give us the Omega-13.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we don't know what it does. And he's like telling Taggart, he's like, tell me what it does. He's like, I don't know what it does. So whenever he asks Justin Long character, he's like, what does the Omega-13 do anyway? And it's like, well, nobody really knows, but there's a speculation that it's a time displacement device, and it's like
turns back time for like 13 seconds.
13 seconds,
which is oddly specific.
Yeah, and then Sigourney Weaver's like, that's such a inconsequential amount of time. Well, like, why doesn't make any sense? And Tim Allen's like, well, it's enough time to fix a mistake. So, and then that obviously comes back during the climax of the film where Saris.
But why does Tim Allen remember?
I'll tell you what. There's a Star Trek episode about this.
Good.
So number one, the Omega-13 is, to me, seems like a reference to Wrath of Khan, where they have the Genesis capsule, and Khan wants it, not knowing really what it does. He just knows it could be used as a weapon, so he wants it. So there's that. But then there is an episode of Star Trek Next Generation called Cause and Effect, I think is what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You can dub it over if I get it wrong. Just like put a different title in there.
Yeah,
but,
I'll just like speak over
yeah. So they end up like they're traveling through and they meet like a distortion that's like the opening of a wormhole. And the wormhole opens, but they're like, their engines shut down and start malfunctioning. So the wormhole opens and another Starfleet ship comes out of it and they can't move out of the way. So what did they do? They did something where they ejected the warp core so that they could move out of the way, and it just ended up backfiring and exploded and killed both the ships. So they get caught in a temporal causality loop. And every time something different happens, but ultimately they end up dying. And they start realizing that they're living this day over and over and over again for like 7 days, I think is how long it goes for. But they don't know it. They just know that something's odd. But Data is the one who sends himself a message in the loop. And it's the number 3. And because there's like they're playing cards and he is drawing like 3s like on almost everyone. So he like takes that into consideration. So when the next time they're in the loop, Riker gives the suggestion to decompress the shuttle bay that could push them ahead just enough to where their ship won't hit. And everybody's giving like their suggestions, and Data like turns and looks at Riker, and Riker's insignias, like the little, they're like pins. He has 3 pins. So he does Riker's and decompresses the shuttle bay because they were going to eject the warp core or something, and he stops and decompresses the shuttle bay, and they move ahead and break the loop. But the other Starfleet captain was in that loop for like 70, 80 years.
Oh my God.
And they didn't know it. Because they asked him what, and it was Kelsey Grammer was the other captain. And he...
Did they age that time?
No, they did not.
Well, how would they be stuck if they aren't dying continually with their ship?
They are.
Okay.
They are, but they don't realize it. So they ask him like what star date it was, and he's like, it's 21 like because they're in 22, like whatever. And he's like, oh, it's 2176 or something like that. And he's like, you should probably be aboard because we need to talk. But no, yeah, like I think that was like partially that type of thing. Like this seemed like a huge Star Trek fan wrote this and was like, hey, I'm gonna shoehorn in all these brilliant episodes.
Yeah.
And some people will get the reference and some people I could be completely wrong.
Yeah,
these assumptions, but
I mean it just seems like he's the only one that remembers what happened originally.
Yeah.
Before, he told him to activate the
maybe that's part of the Omega.
Well, he's the one that activated the Omega 13, so maybe that gives him.
Well, he told the alien or something.
Oh, right, he did.
Like he didn't physically do it himself, so like why?
Well, he did. He had the plunger.
Oh.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that gives him the agency.
There could be some movie bullshit where he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like
which
it gives you your memory.
Just in the moment, I thought it was weird. I was like, "Why does he remember?"
That would have been crazy. Like your friend walks onto the bridge and then he just goes like shoots them. But he doesn't even kill him because they have to vaporize him after they crash land, which is convenient, by the way, that they crash land in the convention center.
Yeah. Oh, they killed a couple people there. They
certainly
killed a couple people there.
Which that one scene is great where Justin Long's like, we gotta go shoot the fireworks off as a landing strip, and then he runs off, and the dad just looks over at the mom, disappointing, and she's like, well, at least he's going outside. Which is just a total dig at nerds like us.
Yeah, we don't go outside.
And he just shakes his paper, shakes his head. Sorry to disappoint you, Dad.
Yeah, my dad was always angry because I was on the Game Boy. I'm like, it's fun.
Should try it.
You should try it sometime. But yeah, there's no. I wish that they could make a sequel now. I said that they probably could have 5 or 10 years ago, but now that Alan Rickman has passed, I don't know how I would feel about a sequel.
Yeah.
If they do decide to make one, I'm sure that they could figure out a way to make it work. But
it'd probably be some sort of in the show, in the movie, it would be some sort of tribute to him or something.
Which would be funny because was rebooting shows a thing back in the 90s when this came out?
I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah,
but
it would be weird now because it's this is a movie about a rebooted show 20 years after its reboot, so they would be it would be it would be almost like Picard now, except TNG wasn't rebooted after 10 years.
No.
It'd be like the original Star Trek team coming together.
Yeah, you're right. It would be more like that.
Half of them are dead anyway.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, comparatively.
Could you imagine if they did a Star Trek with the original cast?
Well, I think you could get away with it if Leonard Nimoy was alive, but I feel like
DeForest Kelly though, and James Doohan.
I guess
those are it's not like they're just
but they're normies
like me. I don't know anything about Star Trek.
We only care about William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy because they're the two biggest characters of the show.
I wouldn't say only care.
Well, yeah,
I only know.
they should do a Days of Future Past, how they had McAvoy and Picard, do it with the older. Which they kind of did. They kind of did. But you could do it with Chris Pine, Shatner, and because that is that. Because Spock even gives them the picture that it is them from the Enterprise A, I think. One from Wrath of Khan. But they're all in their red uniforms and everything. And it's Shatner, DeForest Kelly, Nichelle Nichols, Leonard Nimoy. It's them.
That's my favorite plot point about that new Star Trek movie is I don't understand why only Leonard Nimoy was the one to escape. Well, Spock, I should say. Only Spock was the one to escape to the the second timeline.
Because he ended up in the wormhole with Nero's ship.
Yeah.
He ended up there inadvertently.
Oh, okay.
Because he ejected the core, what the hell was it? The antimatter or whatever that was supposed to suck up the sun that was going to destroy Romulus and all that. And then he ended up getting sucked in with Nero's ship.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And then died in not current time, future current times. Yeah.
Future,
Like,
current.
Past time.
Yeah.
Right? He was in the past.
Yeah, he was in the past.
Yeah.
To talk to his younger self.
Yeah.
And then, even though he couldn't change history, he literally told the younger Spock about how such of a bastard Khan is.
Yeah, that's great. We have anything else to really say about this?
It's great.
It is just great.
It was fun.
It's tightly written. It's well written. It's a nice tribute, homage to Star Trek, like all Star Treks. Basically,
There's a documentary about it.
Yeah, I wish I would have
About
watched
this
that
film.
too.
On Amazon. It's free.
Okay.
It's called Never Give Up, Never Surrender.
Makes
Did
sense.
did like Kirk have any like what do you call it, catchphrases like that? Like, because Spock has live long and prosper,
Right.
But
Take us out, Mike.
I guess that
Might be
the
the
never give up, never surrender could be
Did
the
anybody
Spock
actually say
substitute.
beat me up?
Yeah.
Scotty, beat me up.
Yeah. Well, they say they're like 2 for beam up, or like,
Yeah.
Um,
Because I know that's said a lot. I don't know if it's a
I mean,
catchphrase.
Picard is, make it so number 1. That's his whole thing. But I don't think that Kirk
See,
really
the
has.
little bit of Star Trek that I've seen is, like, I used to watch Next Generation. I don't remember shit about it.
Oh,
Because
there's so many
I was
episodes.
a kid.
There's so many episodes, though.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like hard to, like, I can remember, like, standout episodes, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if somebody's like, remember that episode in episode 187? I'm like, no.
It's
I have
kinda-
no idea what you're talking
It's
about.
kind of crazy how much of a cultural phenomenon Star Trek is, where you have people like that, where they can like pinpoint the episode
episode.
number, like, oh, season 2, episode 10, this happens, and this is.
I mean, it's
the
easier
climax.
with, like, shorter
Yeah,
shows.
those are like long running
But
shows.
those are, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like it's a real testament to Star Trek as a show to
Yeah.
just like that there are fans like that.
Yes, there are. I'm not one of them, but I know enough to get me by in a Star Trek trivia challenge.
Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to rate it.
It is.
I want you guys to go first.
All right, do we rock, paper, scissors to see who gets first?
Fire. That's a Friends reference. I'll go first. I'm gonna give it, like, it's not obviously a fantastic movie. Like, it's not gonna
How dare you?
change the world. So I'm gonna go 7 out of 10. It's obviously above average, but not in that. I think 7 and like above 7 is like awesome. So I think 7 is a good place for it.
I am gonna go with 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I commend this movie for its tight writing, its comedic deliveries, cast fantastic. Never really any boring parts to this movie. It's fast paced. It's good. Got good action. The visual effects are a little bit dated, but this was the early 2000s, so you really can't.
But there's not a lot of visual effects, really.
No,
The
but like
rock monster and like the Omega-13
the
and
little
children.
the little children creatures are a bit dated.
I didn't think those were too bad.
Oh, it looked terrible to me. But anyway,
With their Ray Sith teeth.
yeah, Shark Ray.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy this movie a lot. I wish I could remember more details and specifics about it, but it is what it is.
I'm gonna second the 8 out of 10. Like I said, a part of me used to think I watched this a lot when I was a kid. I just can't remember. But I knew it was one of my favorite movies when I was younger, and going back and watching it now, it still holds up for being 20-some years old. Yeah, everything Aaron said. Soundtrack is great. We didn't really get into that, but it was really good. Very sci-fi, Star Trek-esque. Just a great homage to Star Trek in general, which I'm not even the biggest fan of, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, neither am I.
Well, there we have it. One recommendation down and another one on the deck, coming from Mike over
Literally on the deck.
here.
I don't know. It was fitting.
No trilogies, no trilogies, no trilogies, no trilogies.
It could be.
No trilogies, no
not.
trilogies, no trilogies.
So, 2009 Star Trek.
All right.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
It was funny because
Yeah.
after Aaron and I had finished watching Galaxy Quest, I was like, man, I just want to watch the new Star Trek.
That's literally what I was sitting there. I'm like, I was going through Voodoo because I'm like, I don't know what the hell to pick, and I own all three of them on Blu-ray, but I saw it on there, and I'm like, we're not going for a trilogy, but but yeah, we're just going to do the first one.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind watching Into Darkness too, because that one's my favorite. But
I would actually do a 2-part if we want to do a 2-part. Let's do it
until it evolves into a trilogy. All right, there you
We're
go.
actually-
doing 2. We might as well do 3. Damn it.
We're actually just watching motion picture up to current.
We're gonna have a
We're
7
skipping
hour
the
long
TV
video.
shows. We're just doing all the movies.
See, I thought about doing the original motion picture, but
It's 14 movies.
I
Well, there
that's
you
a
have it, guys.
subplot in the future.
That's a subplot.
If you don't want to be spoiled for 2009 Star Trek, make sure to watch before next episode.
I thought you were going to say 2001 A Space
Yeah.
Odyssey. I was going to be like, well, that too, I guess.
We will be having a spoiler discussion about it. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and discussion about Galaxy Quest. We sure enjoyed having it. And like and subscribe. Let us know what you thought down below. And never forget, never surrender. Never give up, never surrender. To infinity and beyond.
By Grab Thar's hammer. What a show.